So what is some of the best advice that you've ever received? I want you to think about it. What is some of the best advice you've ever received? We've all gotten advice at some point in our life. Sometimes it's not good advice, like it was just bad advice that wasn't even warranted, that you didn't actually want. Someone felt like they needed to give you that advice, and it was wrong advice. You didn't end up following it. But other times, it's great advice. It's things that like you heard and you're like, man, that was really good advice. It really helped me in the situation that I was in. I meet consistently with mentors. I meet with other pastor colleagues of mine. I meet with therapists once a month. I listen to a bunch of leadership podcasts and different things to try to develop as a leader. So I've received a lot of good advice in my life. And here's some of the best advice I've ever received. And some of this might really be revolutionary for you and really help you out. So here's the first one. If you find a toilet in your dream, don't use it. Okay? If you find a toilet in your dream, oh yeah, don't use it. Okay? That's number one piece of advice, okay? Yeah, some of you, my wife just said we need to tell our son that. Yeah, because he does it sometimes. He only waits, know what he waits for? When we change the sheets. Right when we put our new sheets on, he always does it. And then we'll take it off, we'll put a blanket. It's like, we know he's going to pee on this. And then he won't pee for a month. They're like, all right, let's put the sheets back on. And then anyways, okay. Here's another piece of advice. If your kids suddenly start getting along and are nice to each other for no reason, be very suspicious, okay? There's something going on. They got a plan, okay? Another one, if you wait until the last minute to do it, it only takes a minute to do. So if that's all it took, then that's fine. You use the best amount of time possible, okay? Here's one. My father once told me, son, if you want people to listen to what you have to say, claim it's something your father told you. And then this last piece of advice, my father did tell me, okay? This is honest. This is what my dad, some of you know my dad because he comes here pretty consistently. Here's what my dad has told me my entire life. This is the advice he gave me. It's very simple. Don't be an idiot. That was his advice. And you know what? It's great advice. Like, when I think, like, would an idiot do this? Yes. All right, don't do that. It's basically what he's trying to say. So don't be an idiot. Throughout this series, we're going to look at the best advice ever. That's what we're going to look at. The best advice ever. This advice that if you start to live out this advice that we give, it will change your relationships. It will change your health. It will change your faith. It will change your year. Each week, we're going to look at a different piece of advice that we think would be helpful that will actually, if you start to apply it, will actually change you. Because this is a brand new year. And brand new years, we try to bring in new disciplines. Some of us do New Year's resolutions. Some of us don't call things New Year's resolutions, even though it's kind of what they are. But you know if you call them that, you're not actually going to follow through with it. So you just have things you're trying to do. That's not a resolution. Like, I want to read more books, but it's not a resolution I'm making. It's just I want to do that this year. But you know why a lot of times at the beginning of the year we try to do all these things, and it doesn't always work out? You know why at times our New Year's resolutions fail to make a lasting change that we're trying to make? For many of us, it's because we're looking at it completely wrong. Now, at this point, you might think like this, that can't be right, but I want you to really think about this point, and I'll explain it. Most personal problems can't be fixed. I know for some of us, like, wait, what is that? What exactly are you saying here? Most personal problems can't be fixed. I know this is a depressing statement, and we immediately respond like, no, that's not true, but hear me out. We tend to think that our personal problems are something we need to fix the same way if a car breaks down, we just need to fix it, right? You take it to the shop. If your car breaks down, you put it in the shop, they fix it, and then it comes back like it was brand new, like nothing ever happened, right? That we think that our problems should be exactly the same way. That if it's just a problem we need to fix, and once we fix it, it's over. It's not how it works. You cannot fix a problem like it never happened. You cannot just leave it behind you. You cannot just pretend that there is no effect to the problem. Whatever it was, it happened. The mistake that you made, it happened. The damage that you caused happened. You can't just fix it. You can cope with it. You can leverage it. You can work through it. But you can't just fix it. Your past, the good parts and the bad parts, are all part of your story. Most personal problems cannot be fixed. However, most personal problems can be avoided. They can be avoided. You can't fix them, but you can avoid most personal problems. We fight against this too. We go, no, that's not true. Because for me, I'm just unlucky. Everything wrong happens to me. Every relationship I'm in just doesn't work out. Every church I go to, after a while, it doesn't work out. Everything I do just doesn't work out. Every friendship, my job, it just never works out. It's not my fault that happens. Maybe that's true. Or maybe you haven't set yourself up to avoid those problems. Maybe you aren't just unlucky, but instead you have lived your life like your problems just need to be fixed instead of them being avoided. Because a lot of us, we look for solutions to our problems. We have a personal problem, let's solve it. Let's fix it. And then let's move on like it never happened. And then we think we solved it and we try to live life, but then we go, but that problem is still there. Like I thought I moved on. I thought I fixed it. I thought I was done with it, but yet here I am. It keeps affecting me. The reason why is because you can't just fix it. Most personal problems can't be fixed. Most personal problems can be avoided. If a solution to your problem is not the answer, what's the answer then? What do we look at instead? Instead of a solution, what we need to look at is direction. So today, I'm going to talk about the advice that I have been given. I got this advice 15 years ago. I heard a sermon from Andy Stanley, a very famous pastor, who talked about this. He said this piece of advice. It's a principle. And this piece of advice was so impactful to me that it stuck out forever. I remembered it since that day, and I quote it constantly. It changed the way I look at my life. It changed everything. In fact, I like this advice so much, I got it tattooed on my arm. That's how much I love this advice. Here's the advice. If you find, that's not the advice. This is at a family service, too. They were high-fiving each other in the back, and they're fired. Okay, so here's the advice. It's the PATH principle. I highly recommend you write this down. It's the PATH principle. Direction determines destination. The PATH principle. Direction determines destination. Think about a time that you got lost. I know it's a little harder now when we drive to get lost because we have it on our phones. We can kind of turn right back around. But think about a time you were driving and you got lost. When you get lost, do you need a solution when you get lost? No. You know the solution. Get unlost. Don't be lost. That's the solution. You don't need a solution. What do you need? Directions. You need to figure out where to go. And when you got lost, you don't know the exact moment you got lost. Because if you did, you wouldn't have gotten lost. All you know is at some point you're driving like, oh no, I'm lost. If you knew the exact time, you'd be like, okay, now's the time. I'm getting lost now. We don't do that, right? No, when we get lost, we don't realize it until it's too late, until we are already lost. How do you get back on track? We get to where we get to where we should be the same way we get to where we shouldn't be. We went the wrong direction. Now we have to go back the right direction. If you want to get to a certain destination in life, you don't need a solution to get you there. You need the right direction to get you there. Direction determines destination. If you want a happy marriage, there's no solution for that. You need a right direction. Direction determines destination. You want to have great friendships and relationships, there's not a solution or a fix for that. You just need to go the right direction. You want financial freedom? You want a strong faith? It's about your direction. Direction determines destination. See, our life is connected. What we did in our past affects our present. What we do today will affect our future. We all live on a path. Life is a journey. It is a path. Everything we do leads us down a path. There's no such thing as a one-time event. No such thing as, well, that was just college, and that won't affect anything else. That was just one party. That won't affect anything else. No, that was just one relationship. That won't affect anything else. There's no such thing as that. There's no one-time event that doesn't affect everything else. Everything we do takes us down a path. Direction determines destination. So the question we need to ask ourselves is this. If it's all a path, and every decision we make takes us down a path, if that's true, is the path you're currently taking going to take you to the destination you want to get to? Is the path you are currently on, the direction you are currently going to get you to the place that you want to be? Direction determines destination. Because for some of us, we're living in the wrong direction. And for some of us in the room that are living in the wrong direction, you don't even know it. You think you're going the right direction because you've lived your whole life with solutions. You keep solving the problems that come up. You keep solving and pretending like they're fixed. But trying to solve your problems is going down the wrong direction. Good news for you is that when you change direction, things will eventually change. Some of us are going the wrong direction. We don't even know it. But then others of us in the room, we're going the wrong direction, and we know it. We just don't care. So we don't think it's actually going to affect us. We know we're going out of a direction we shouldn't. We go, yeah, I know I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I know I shouldn't participate in that. Yeah, I know I should do these things, and I'm not. I know the ways I should and shouldn't act, but these are just one-time things. This is just a season of my life. This is just this current time period. And one day I'm going to fix that. One day I'm not going to do that anymore, and then everything will be fine. For those of you that are in the room that are not married, for some of us, it's like, you know what? One day I want to get to this place, and I'll do it one day. And I'll make sure that I honor my body, I honor my eyes, I honor my thoughts. I'll do that one day. That's when I get married. I'm not getting married now, so I'll just go to do what I want to do. We're going in the wrong direction. Some of it's our spiritual disciplines. I know I should read my Bible every day. I know I should pray every day. I know I should come to church once a week, even on Sundays that we're not meeting. Just kidding. Don't come then. I know I should tithe. I know I should do these spiritual disciplines, and one day I will. When I have more free time, when I have more money, when I have time to do it, when the sports aren't so crazy, then I'll do it. One day I'll do that. When it comes to parenting, like I know we should make sure that we put our focus and our attention on supporting our kids, helping them to understand who they are, to grow, and as they grow, let them fall and let them get up and figure things out. I know I should prioritize them, but I'm really busy with work. So I will one day, but right now I'm not sure if I can. Life is not a bunch of unconnected events. It's a path. It's a path that we all take to a specific destination. You don't need solutions. You need the right direction, because direction determines destination. The most famous sermon that Jesus ever gave was a sermon called the Sermon on the Mount. This sermon is written in Matthew chapter 5 through 7. Most likely, Jesus preached this sermon many times. Most likely, this is one of his go-to sermons, and they were able to write it down for us. If you've never read the Sermon on the Mount, it's just packed full of wisdom. I highly recommend. Matthew 5, 6, and 7. It's great. He talks about things like being salt and light, talks about murder, adultery, divorce, revenge, how to pray, how to be a true disciple, and so much more. There's all these things in this great, amazing sermon. Then at the end of the sermon, he gives an analogy. He gives a parable. Jesus gives a story. To close out his amazing sermon, he gives this parable. And here's what the parable says, Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. What is a wise man according to Jesus? It isn't someone who solved his problems. It isn't someone who heard what to do. It is someone who heard what Jesus said to do, and then they did it. That's what a wise man is according to Jesus. A wise man is someone who understands that all of life is connected. The past connects to the present, and the present informs the future. So a wise man hears the ways to live, the direction that they are called to live, how they should live and behave and act, and understands that because it's the direction, I'm going to do that. So that way I can get to the destination. When the wise man does what he does today, will take him down a path to where he wants to go tomorrow. The wise man understands that. He understands it's a direction. So Jesus says a wise man is like someone who built his house on the rock. The original audience would have known exactly what he's talking about here. Back then, building a house on the rock was way more expensive, it was harder to do, and it took longer, but everyone would have agreed it's better. It's a better way to build your house. Verse 25, the rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against this house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. The storm came to that house, but because it was built on the rock, which was more expensive, which took a lot longer to do and was harder to do, because it was built on the rock, it stayed up. Well, what about another person? Verse 26, but everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. Where's a foolish man here? Someone who thinks it's all disconnected. I heard it. I heard the sermon. That's good enough. I heard it. I heard that part of it. I'm good today. Yesterday doesn't matter for today, and today won't affect tomorrow. I'm just going to worry about today. I don't need to go the right direction. I just need the solution today. I just need to hear it. I don't have to apply it. Just hearing is good enough. A foolish man built his house on the sand. Again, the audience would have known what this meant. Building your house on the sand was cheaper. Building your house on the sand was quicker. Building your house on the sand was a lot faster to do. All that stuff. It was a lot easier to do. But the problem is, when you build your house on the sand, it looks fine. It looks just like the house on the rock. And as long as today's weather is tomorrow's weather, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. You can build on sand. It's all good. But if tomorrow's weather is not what today's weather is, we're in trouble. What does Jesus say in verse 27? The rain came down, streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Just like the first house, the storm came. But this house didn't just break. This house didn't need to just be fixed. It fell over. It was gone. How do you fix this house? You can't fix the house. What can you do? Only thing you can do is rebuild it. There's no fix for this house. You have to rebuild it. And hopefully, if the house fell, the person who rebuilds it goes, maybe I should build this on rock instead of sand. The first builder wasn't lucky. The storm came for both of them. The first builder was prepared. One was prepared where the other builder built like a storm was never going to come. So I don't need to worry about that. Because what happens tomorrow doesn't matter about today. I just need to figure out today. Direction determines destination. This story wouldn't have been a surprise to anyone in the audience. When they heard this story, they would have gone, yeah, of course a house built on sand is going to fall down. But for a foolish person, it'd be a surprise. Like, wait, I built on this. Why did it fall down? It looked just like the other one. Or they might even say things like this, man, the rock people, they're just so lucky. It always works out for them, not for me. Doesn't work out for me. It never works out. I always pray for God to fix it. He never fixes it. I always ask God to change him or change her, and he never does it. It just never works out for me. Trouble follows me wherever I go. Come on. The wise man's not lucky. He's prepared. That's the difference. The wise man in this parable does what Jesus tells him to do. The wise man understands that direction determines destination. So when it comes to things like this, we're going to put a list up. This is stuff that we all think about at some point. Think about things financially, professionally, relationally, morally, spiritually, marriagely, which I know is not a word, but I use it anyways. But a bunch of people at Family Service said, you could do maritally. And I was like, well, nah, I'm not sticking with it. I'm not changing the slide now. It's way too late. When it comes to all these things, you have places you want to get to when it comes to all those things, right? Your direction determines how you will get to all those things. When it comes to your finances, your profession, your relationships, your morals, your spirituality, your faith, your marriage or future marriage one day, your direction determines where you get when it comes to all 6 of these things. There's 2 problems, though, with the path principle that we confuse when it comes to this. Because a lot of us just go, yeah, that makes sense. Life's a path. What I do today is going to matter for tomorrow. But there's 2 problems. Here's the first one. You can write this down. Our intentions. A lot of us, we confuse intentions with direction. If I were to ask you with that list, okay, what's your intentions for this? If you could pull that list up again one more time. When it comes to financially, you would probably say, I intend to save money and be able to retire at a certain age. When it comes to professionally, I intend to keep going in my company and be very successful. When it comes to relationships, I intend to have great friendships and great relationships around other people that really grow together. When it comes to my morals, I intend to have good morals. When it comes to my spirituality, I intend to grow in my faith and have an intimate connection with God. When it comes to my marriage or my future marriage, I intend to have a healthy marriage that lasts the entire lifetime. That's what I intend to do. All of us would have answers for it. I could go around and ask each one of you. You'd have an answer of what you intend for it to look like as you get older. All of us have that. The problem is, for a lot of us, there's a disconnect between our intention and our actual direction. We intend to make it to a certain place, but our intention does not get us there. It doesn't matter what you intend if you're not going the right direction. Here's another way we can use our path principle. Direction, not intention, determines destination. Think of it this way. Let's say you're going to go to Disney World. You're going to drive to Disney World. You get in your car, you buy the tickets, which you drain your entire 401k to go to Disney World because that's how expensive it is. You get ready. You figure out, here's the days I'm going to go, to what parks. You buy your Mickey ears. You get your matching shirts that luckily my wife has never made me wear at a Disney park. Thank God. You get all those ready, right? You're ready to go to Disney World. You get the car packed. You're ready to go. All right, kids, get in the car. We're going to Disney World. You have every intention of going to Disney World. And you drive north. You're going to get to Disney World? No. You'll never get there. Because it matters. It doesn't matter how much you intend to be there. It doesn't matter how much you want to be there. It doesn't matter how much money you spent to get there. If you don't go the right direction, you're never going to get there. You can have all the right intentions. If your direction isn't going towards your destination, your intentions do not matter. Let me give you some examples. You intend to marry a strong Christian person and have a strong Christian marriage that lasts a lifetime. You intend for that to happen. But in the meantime, I'm just going to date whoever's attractive or whoever's available, whoever's around. And I'm not going to worry about what I do with whatever person because I'm just figuring out what I'm going to do. And if there's no one around, I'm not going to worry about what I look at either because it's not going to worry about that. And then one day I'll have that marriage, but I intend to have that marriage. It doesn't matter what you intend. You're not going the right direction. You're not going to get there. You intend to have a close family. You have kids, and you intend as you grow older that your kids eventually get married and have other kids, but your family stays so close, and they come back for all the holidays, and their kids go to college, or they want to come back. You intend to have a very close relationship. But in the meantime, you work as much as you possibly can. You go on trips wherever you can. You hang out with friends as much as you can, and don't prioritize your family. Doesn't matter what your intentions are. Direction, not intention, determines destination. You intend to have a long relationship with your grandkids. One day you want to have grandkids, and you intend to have a great relationship with them. But in the meantime, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm never going to work out. I'm not going to take care of myself in any way, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. Doesn't matter what you intend. Direction, not intention, determines destination. You intend to be debt-free. You want to get to a point where you're able to retire well and you have all the money you need saved up. You even save enough money for your grandkids one day. You intend for that. But what's debt today? You'll deal with that tomorrow. No, today I'll just spend what I want because I want this right now. If it puts me in debt, it puts me in debt. It doesn't matter what you intend. Direction, not intention, determines destination. For me, I really, as a high school and college student, I dreamed about getting married one day. I just couldn't wait to get married. I wanted to find an awesome, amazing person that would be a strong Christian woman, and we'd be able to get married and have a strong Christian marriage that would just be the best thing ever, and just it would last forever, and everything would be great. I had every intention of doing that. The problem was in college, I also liked to go to parties. I liked girls' attention, and sometimes I would do whatever I needed to make sure that girl gave me attention that I had no interest in at all because I had major insecurities in me that I never dealt with. And sometimes I would cross boundaries with girls that I did not care about at all. First, it was like, well, if I'm in love, it's okay. Because maybe this is my future wife. But then it became, well, I'm very lonely. And it's just a one-time thing. It's not that big of a deal. And then if there was no girls around, then I just looked at whatever I could look at to fill those needs. And then eventually, guess what? I found that person. And I got married. And I thought, okay, we're good now. All those struggles I had in college, they're gone now. I don't have to worry about them because that was my college self. There's no repercussions of that. And then all of a sudden, our first year of marriage is like, wait, how can I still struggle with what I look at? Wait, how come all of those past relationships that meant nothing to me are actually affecting me in this great marriage? Why is that? Because I had all the intentions. It didn't matter. See, for me, the house, I didn't have to fix the house or rebuild it, or I didn't have to fix it or just solve it. I had to rebuild the whole house. There's nothing wrong with intentions, but don't think that your intentions will get you to your desired destination. Jesus would say that is like a foolish man who's building his house on sand, thinking that the weather today will be the weather tomorrow. Your intentions do not get you there. Direction, not intention, determines destination. Then number 2, the last one. The other problem we have with the path principle is the destination. What if we are trying to go to the wrong destination? What if we're trying to go to the wrong place? What if we spend our entire life in a certain direction and we end up going to the wrong place? See, all of us want to live a life that we strive to be satisfied in. And we all have a specific destination. But what if the destination we think we should go to is actually not the destination we should be going to? Like, let's pull up that list again. When it comes to your finances, is really the destination to make as much money as possible? Is that the best thing? Is that the way to solve it? Because some of us, that's how we live. Make as much money as possible. Will that satisfy us at the end? Because of professions, is it about being the boss or having the most responsibility? Is that the best outcome? When it comes to our relationship, is it just about having a group of friends that you can have as much fun with as possible? Like, is that the best desired outcome? Will that satisfy you? When it comes to your morals, is it, hey, as long as I'm a good person, then I'll be satisfied in life? When it comes to your spirituality, hey, as long as God blesses me, then I will be satisfied. When it comes to your marriage, hey, as long as we don't have conflict, as long as we don't fight, as long as we a nice peaceful marriage, then that's the goal. Is that really the best destination for us? What if you seek to arrive at a destination that's not meant for you to be at? What if we arrive at the wrong destination? Direction, not intention, determines destination. But where should we actually end up going? When we look at the life of Jesus, what was Jesus' invitation to others? It wasn't to listen. It wasn't to believe. It wasn't to stop. His invitation was, follow. Come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Pick up your cross and follow me. That is the invitation of Jesus. We will never get to where we are meant to be apart from Jesus. So when it comes to your direction and when it comes to your destination, surrender to his direction and trust him with your destination. The invitation of Jesus is not for him to be the passenger up to the destination that you decide. The invitation of Jesus is for him to completely take over. That's the invitation. For us to go, God, whichever way you tell me to go, that's the way I will go. Whichever direction you point me to, that's the direction I'm going to go. And I'm going to trust that whatever destination I get to, destination that you promise, that it is the destination I'm meant to be at. God, whatever you say, that is what I am going to do. Here's what you need to understand about following Jesus. There is no guarantee other than Jesus will lead, and he knows what to do better than what you know. There is no promise of a happy ending in life. There is no promise of a happily ever after in life. There's no promise of a storm-free life. Both houses face storms. But there is a promise of purpose. Because if you don't surrender to his direction, you're going to surrender to someone else's or something else's. See, following Jesus is not easy. Jesus' invitation is an invitation to pick up your cross and to follow him. It is an invitation to deny yourself. That's the invitation. It is not easy, but it's also not easy to build your house on a rock. And also, it's not easy. So what? It's better. If it's better, we should do it. If building your house on a rock is not easy, but it's better, we should do it. Following Jesus is not easy, but it's better. I just believe that Jesus has proven himself faithful. I just believe that when I take control, it never goes the way I want it to, and it never turns out the way I intended it to. And I just believe that when I allow the world to lead me in the direction they decide I should go, it costs me way more than I want to spend, and it leaves me with way less than I had before. See, direction determines destination. Direction, not your intention, determines destination. So we should surrender to his direction and trust him with your destination. So my 3 closing questions as the worship team comes up, we get ready to play this closing song. 3 questions I want you to wrestle with as we play this new song. You're going to hear the song throughout the entire series. Here's 3 questions. Number 1, are you living in the right direction? Like, are you actually living the direction for the destination you want to get to? Are you living in the right way? Some of us, we know we're not. Are we living in the right direction? Number 2, are you confusing your intention with your direction? Have you lived your whole life thinking, well, I have the right intentions, but it never works out the way I wanted to? Are you confusing your intention with your direction? Number 3, have you surrendered your direction to him? That's the invitation of Jesus, to surrender every aspect of ourselves to him, to allow him to direct us where we go so that we can get to the destination he knows is best for us. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you that you are the God who guides us. You are the God who came for us. You're the God who calls us to follow your lead. You never asked us to go anywhere you have not already gone. And dear God, I pray for each one of us in this room that you remind us of the direction you are calling us to live. You give us the courage to surrender that direction to you. That you convict us in the ways that we are not living the way we should. That you help us to take the steps we need to take to go the direction you want us to go so we can get to the destination you have promised for us. That help us to be people that build our house on the rock and not on sand. Help us to be people that understand that life is a path and that you have a better way for us to live. Remind us in the hard times when it is hard to follow you that you know what's best for us. That thank you for sending your son so that we are reminded and we know that you love us, that you saved us, that you came for us. So your invitation to us to surrender to you is an invitation that's what's best for us. So dear God, as we sing this last song to you, I pray that you convict us and guide us on where we need to go next. In your son's name, amen. Let's stand and sing this closing song together.